It's Paul Joseph Watson in for Alex Jones today. Before we go to our guests, just want to direct you to InfoWarsLife.com, where we have the 2017 super sale, again, extended massive discounts on InfoWars Life formulations. Brainforce 30% off. Remember, this is the nootropic formula that I personally recommend. I've taken it. It beats the competition. You get a great discount at 30% off. This helps you focus. It gives you clarity, especially if you're doing, mental tasks. It also helps socially. I remember going to Austin back a couple of years ago, jet lagged, no sleep whatsoever, had to host a 3-hour radio show, popped a couple of these, and it helped immeasurably. It's a bold new frontier if you research nootropics generally. The Silicon Valley whiz kids are all taking them. Again, we have 5-star independent reviews at InfoWarsLife.com. It all goes to help build this platform. That is the 2017 Make Our Bodies Great Again super sale initiative at InfoWarsLife.com. I'm going to go to our guest now, who is Harlan Hill, a contributor for CNN and Fox News. He founded Democrats for Trump, and the website is harlanhill.com. Harlan, I just want to dive straight into it. Good to have you on. The Washington Post continues to accuse the likes of InfoWars, the likes of you, no doubt, of, being dangerous for pushing fake news. They're calling for censorship. When they're the ones publishing this fake news about Russia hacking the US electric grid, again, with no evidence whatsoever, they're escalating a conflict with a nuclear-armed power by pushing fake news while accusing us of pushing fake news. Harlan, do these people have any self-awareness at all?
What's been pretty amazing to me is the hysteria that has swept not just the liberal media, but I think most of the mainstream media. What I noticed over the course of this election is that we really, and this isn't just a talking point, we really don't have real journalists anymore. We have activists in the media that think that their responsibility was to destroy Donald Trump. And what that's translated to in the post-election environment is that they think that it's their responsibility to undermine his presidency. So, I mean, it's concerning. And you combine that with the propaganda and the conspiracy theory that they're pushing around the Russian hacking, and I think that I think that what they're doing is they're playing with fire. My concern is when you look at footage in the aftermath of the election of liberal supporters of Hillary Clinton, they didn't take this election very well, and it's because they've been told for months now that the guy that won, Donald Trump, is quote unquote literally Hitler. And so when you saw people at the Jacob Javits Center, which is really close to where I am right now, where Hillary is supposed to have her big, breaking the glass ceiling party on election night, you saw liberals literally crawling around the floor, crying, rolling around, it's sobbing like their dear leader had just passed away. This isn't a mature reaction to have to the loss of your candidate, but yet that's what we've seen, and I hold the media actually directly responsible for that. They've done everything in their power to undermine his candidacy and now his presidency. They're pushing conspiracy theory with unsubstantiated claims of Russian hacking. They even pushed unsubstantiated claims of the Russians in WikiLeaks modifying emails. That's been debunked as well. We're dealing in a wow. Sorry about that. We're dealing in, I think, a pretty unprecedented period I think the devolution of the media here in the West. And I thought that Sean Hannity's point about, there not being a free and fair media in this country is absolutely true. And it didn't happen overnight. It's happened over the course of several decades.
And again, I mean, we have to blame the media for this, right? The whole election cycle was about this violence occurring at Trump rallies. The media again and again blamed Trump, despite the fact now we know that was organized in part by the DNC, thanks to James O'Keefe and those revelations. But even so, it was obvious at the time that this was mobs of people going to Trump rallies, attacking Trump supporters, trying to shut down his events. What do you make of this new phenomenon, which we've seen after the election? I guess it ties into the same, what they've termed Trump derangement syndrome, of anti-Trump people across the board, almost a case every single day now, faking hate crimes, trying to blame them on Trump supporters when they were hoaxes staged by these very same individuals. Have you ever seen anything like this in the immediate aftermath of an election?
I haven't. And like I said earlier, I think that they're playing with fire. Um, the problem is, I believe that there are true hate crimes that happen every day. And so when they peddle this fiction, they undermine and they bring into question the validity of people that actually have encountered some of these crimes. And I can tell you that no single party has a monopoly on this kind of behavior. I'm sure that you've run into it frequently. I run into it all the time. I can't go to the coffee shop here in Manhattan without being accosted by, you know, some liberal fringe lunatic. Literally every day. I'll be at the dog park and I'll have to be harassed by some lunatic. So no side has a monopoly on this. I do believe that there are real criticisms of people that are on the fringe of either political persuasion that go out of their way to engage in violence and rhetoric that I don't think is productive at all. But what the media has done is that they don't do their due diligence at all. They don't do what I think is responsible and what you would expect of any journalistic organization of, you know, of the pedigree of something like the New York Times. They just publish this fiction. And we saw this, you know, getting beyond just the violence in the aftermath of the election. We saw this with the fake news story that the Washington Post pushed last week on, you know, alleged Russian hacking of a Vermont power grid. You know, it is really out of control at this point. And so what it does is it contributes to this era of you know, people can't trust what they're hearing, which is a real problem. The democracy only works if we can trust the media, if we have a vibrant media. I think that's why something like InfoWars is really important, telling a different side of the story that's really underreported. There are lots of other news organizations that I'm really encouraged by that are popping up and helping to balance this out. My concern is, though, that what we're seeing in the mainstream media is that for a long time, they just had a liberal bent. What they have now instead is that they're willing to abdicate all of their journalistic responsibility to cover their own people responsibly, somebody like Hillary Clinton or Barack Obama, who are not above criticism. And so it's not just a liberal bent anymore. They're willing to fabricate stories. They're willing to peddle conspiracy theory that's totally unsubstantiated. They're willing to parrot the line that comes out of the federal government, you know, with like this Russian hacking story, with zero homework. They've done zero homework on many of these stories. So it's dangerous. This is a dangerous time. And, you know, and this democracy is not going to work. Many of the democracies across this planet are not going to work. The UK, for instance, if we do not have a return to real journalistic practices in this country. It's not a joke.
And it's just amazing. I mean, the mainstream media gave birth to fake news in the first place by being completely dishonest and deceptive. I mean, there wouldn't be a market, there wouldn't be a thirst for alternative news if the mainstream media actually went back to its muckraking heritage and actually acted like the Fourth Estate should act. I mean, I would say that, you know, I noticed these fake news websites. I don't think they were anywhere near as prominent as they're trying to claim. In fact, I think it was Daily Caller did a story where they pointed out that the top, quote, fake news websites were listed 80, 90,000, 100,000 on Alexa. So they didn't even get that much traffic. Obviously, it's hyperbole. It's been completely over-exaggerated. But again, they gave birth to it in the first place. Quickly, though, I wanted to ask you about Seth Rich, because, again, in that interview with Sean Hannity, Julian Assange alluded to who his source might be. He talked about possibly someone within the DNC. I know that this was something you were tracking back at the start of it. The DNC, or the Democratic Party, they hired an individual to sort of become the spokesperson for the family of Seth Rich after he died. His immediate public statement, his first statement, was to completely disavow any suggestion that the murder of Seth Rich, which remains unsolved, had anything to do with the DNC leaks. Do you think that was quite strange when you heard that at the time?
I do. You know, I've heard many rumors. I've heard lots of whispers, even within Democratic circles, about this. And to be honest with you, I don't know what to believe anymore. I do think that the response of the Democratic National Committee in the aftermath of this has been very strange. I think that the family has asked for answers and they're not getting them. And I think, the circumstances of this were very suspicious. Julian Assange has indicated that it's somebody like Seth Rich could have been, part of the DNC leak, not the Podesta leak, but the DNC leak. And so getting back to the media, because it relates to this, I don't think any theory is above consideration. And what really made me question this story is when certain people started asking, does this story have some legitimacy? The effort was to immediately shut down that conversation, and that concerns me, particularly because everything pointed to this guy's death was very suspicious. We know that he was shot, that he still had his wallet on him, he still had all of his valuables on him. If this was your run-of-the-mill robbery that went wrong, that wouldn't have been the case. And so it does seem suspicious. Now maybe there's nothing there, but it's not above consideration. And I can tell you from firsthand experience, as I said previously, there are people that looked at this from day one and they said, something doesn't smell right here.
Okay, Harlan Hill will be back with the next segment of the Alex Jones Show. Going to talk about Obama's final days in office. We will be back. Breaking news at Infowars.com. Don't go away. We're live on the Alex Jones Show with Harlan Hill. The website is harlanhill.com. Harlan, just wrapping up here, I noticed in the past few days we've had a narrative that's almost equally as bizarre and unfounded as the Russian hacking narrative. This claim made by some in the media attempting to characterize Obama's legacy as, quote, scandal-free. What's your response to that claim?
I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, we had everything from, Fast and Furious, where we were literally arming the cartel. Okay. And what was even worse than that was that the Obama administration was engaged in a cover-up of it. The attorney general at the time refused to speak to Congress on the issue. Obama invoked executive privilege to avoid answering questions about that. So, then moving on to the Iran deal, that was a total disaster that led to, multi-billion-dollar ransom and the release of enormous funds to the Iranians, to Hillary Clinton's email scandal. Don't forget that when she was using this private server, she was in the employ of Barack Obama as the Secretary of State. So it's just laughable. It's laughable for the Obama administration to make the claim that, they've been scandal-free. They've had literally dozens of scandals. In many ways, they're probably one of the more scandal-plagued administrations in the last century. But, everything's rosy. That's what we're told to believe with Barack Obama, and the media never really pushes back on it. So he can get away with making that claim, and he's engaged in revisionist history, and he's trying to, cater to what his long-term legacy is going to be.
And I guess it's part of the process of delegitimizing Trump, right? They need to uphold Obama as this Christ-like, saintly figure to then put him up against Trump, who is the devil incarnate before he's even took office, right?
If you Google Obama and Jesus or Obama and Halo, you will see so many photos that were taken by actual photographic journalists at events, and they try to get him. Yeah, there you go. I mean, look at that. That is insane. That is insane. That is
that can't be a coincidence, the amount of times I've seen that.
Oh my God. And if you look at Newsweek, they're probably one of the biggest offenders of this. I mean, they make all kinds of comparisons to Jesus. They called his reelection the second coming. I mean, just get over yourselves. How can you look at this and believe what these people are pushing? And this is what I was saying previously. This is not good for anybody. I'm not happy to say this, because we need a vibrant media now. We need a vibrant media to hold Trump, accountable. I mean, he's not going to be perfect. I voted for him. I supported him, but he's not going to be. We need to hold his feet to the fire too. And so You know, what can you say at this point? What can you say? I mean, but now I'm caught in kind of a weird spot because I feel like I have to over defend Trump sometimes because the media onslaught is just endless, is endless. So
No, it's that you've got the New York Times with an opinion piece comparing Trump to a crackhead. I mean, that's just out yesterday. Can you imagine them saying that about Obama just 2 weeks out before he took office back in 2008? It's amazing. We've run out of time, Holland, but just tell people how they can find your content, how they can follow you on Twitter.
Yeah, just at Harlan, Harlan. Follow me there. Tweet me.
And the website is harlanhill.com. Harlan, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, there goes Harlan Hill. Be sure to check out his website and his other appearances. Again, he was somebody who founded Democrats for Trump after seeing Bernie Sanders get stabbed in the back at the DNC by Hillary Clinton's people. So, you know, he's not somebody who was a partisan pro-Trumper from the very beginning, but he saw what was happening with the political establishment and then came out for Trump. So be sure to check out his information at harlanhill.com. Going to come back after the break with more special reports from Alex Jones and more news about the cultural enrichment of Europe. We covered the Cologne issue. They had a phalanx of police out there on New Year's Eve to stop the mass molestation of women, to stop a repeat of that happened back last New Year's Eve. Of course, the police in Cologne were criticized for stopping women from being raped by the left because they, God forbid, profiled the hundreds of North African men that descended on the scene with, according to the police, intent to commit criminal behavior. God forbid they actually surrounded them, questioned them, arrested some of them, prevented women being raped. We can't have that because it's not politically correct. We're going to come back with that news and more on the Alex Jones Show Live. Alex Jones special reports coming up. Breaking news at Infowars.com. Don't go anywhere.
Infowars has more than 15 YouTube channels and about 3 million subscribers. Our main channel has 1.854 or 1,854,000 plus subscribers. Now, they've been gaming the system for a long time to shut down nationalistic or patriotic media, saying we're right-wingers, saying we're extremists. Well, it doesn't matter who we are. We have a right to free speech, don't we? As long as we don't violate the rules. Well, now Zuckerberg has come out and said he's going to restrict conservative news like Communist China does, calling it fake news. And Google, that owns YouTube, has announced, and they've done it now 2 weeks ago, that they're going to basically make you click the bell in your notifications. We're going to show you how to do that, or you won't get all the channels that you've subscribed to and you won't get the videos. Now, why are they doing this? It's more than just censoring. They want you to see the videos that they feed you below and beside the videos you're looking at that are corporately sponsored so they make more money. They're taking the you out of YouTube. So we're in this information war, and it's more important than ever that you promote the videos, that you like the videos, and that you send them on to others. Because the answer to the attempt to shut us down and restrict free speech that's openly now happening is for us to redouble our efforts. We're winning the culture war as true classical liberals that made this country great. We're restoring the Renaissance. So again, if you want to get our videos, so you can make your decision whether you want to see them or not. After all, that's why you subscribed. YouTube's had this since they started 12 years ago or whatever it was. And they're fundamentally changing it so you don't get it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is promoting fake news and trash news and establishment news. It's killing real independent news. But we the people, by taking action, can break the back of this system. So please, click on the bell so you get the notifications and so you get in your feed the videos and channels you've subscribed to. I'm Alex Jones for Infowars.com.